Our next speaker is the managing director of Xyrality, a top 50 mobile developer specializing in next-generation construction and management simulation MMOGs. He built Gamigo, is that right? Gamigo, an online games magazine, into one of the leading European MMOG publishers, and is partner of BMP AG. How do you pronounce that?
BMP AG.
BMP AG was responsible for online media and entertainment. Today discussing Xyrality's multi-platform strategy, Sven OSSENBRUGGEN.
Yeah, thank you. So, lots of buzzwords. Some facts and figures to Xyrality. We were founded in September 2010, so this year we will have our 3rd anniversary. We have now 70 employees, and we're increasing still the team. And what we're doing is we are a self-publishing developer, and so we have native iOS, Android, and browser development for a cross-platform concept. And on top of that, we have built up last year a new Unity 3D team. And what was already said in my introduction is we were voted by PocketGamer.biz to the top 50 worldwide mobile developer. We were number 38, and we were very proud of that. And in 2012, we belonged to the best of 2012 apps of Apple in a lot of countries. Yeah, it was already said that I'm managing director and founder at Xyrality. My background was in the early days venture capital, and then changed to executive to Gamigo. Some might know Gamigo as a publisher from Europe, where I did a turnaround from a magazine to a publisher. And in the early 2000s, I got to know my partner Alexander Spohr, and he developed 1995 the first strategy build-up MMO in a browser. So it ran on Netscape 5.0, and as today, we still believe that it was the first browser MMO. So we are still looking for a browser MMO that was earlier. So if anybody knows one that was earlier, we would be very interested. And the third one is our young blood, because we are already very old, so we believed it's good to reduce the average of the founder's age, and this was Torben. At that time, we found that Xyrality was still student, and he is responsible for our game design. Flagship of Xyrality is Lords and Knights. It is a real-time strategy MMO in a medieval scenario. It's available on the app stores, iOS since June 2011. We have 50 million downloads for all of our games, and we are publishing it in 22 languages currently. And we were top 1 grossing in more than 20 markets, and you see the numbers, top 10 grossing in more than 57 markets. Currently we are publishing 5 games, sorry. You can see Crazy Tribes, Celtic Tribes, and Imperial Dynasties. There we ran a strategy that was built on the back end of Lords and Knights, exchanging a lot of pictures and a bit of the gameplay and a bit of the balancing. But basically these are the same games. So also strategy build-up MMOs. And Lords of Blood is a cooperation with a Chinese developer called i3 Studio. We did a republishing in Europe. When we founded this company, 2010, bandwidth was very low. There were not so many strategy build-up MMOs on the market like today, and we believe that this is a very good opportunity for us to come into this hole in the market. And from our own experience playing browser games in that time, it was that a mobile browser did not deliver a real good experience in the gameplay. So we decided to build up an MMO and an app. So an app does not need so many data when we transfer them, and it gives you a very good gameplay. And the gameplay in a strategy, does anybody play those games? So if you attack somebody in the morning, you would like to know when you're going to work or wherever you would like to know what happened to your troops. So it is a gaming scenario where it's very good to be online the whole day. So we wanted to create a game where we are accompanying our customer around the whole day. And the scenario 2010 was that you have multiple devices on your digital day. Let's say you start, on that day, you started with a laptop in the morning reading your newspaper. Perhaps you were in the bus somewhere, you had a smartphone. You were at work with a PC, and at home in the evening you might have played with an iPad or whatever. And our strategy was, if we present a game where you have one account and you live with that account and you want to build up your castle and your account, we want to be present on all we want to accompany the user with the whole digital day of him. That was our thoughts, and this had some implications. As I said, we decided to develop native clients. So the first implication is, if we want to deliver an Android browser and iOS to fulfill our mission, we need for all of these technologies teams. This is, for a startup, this is not the easiest one. And the other implication are more the advantages. So in our gameplay for Lords and Knights, we need a critical mass of gamers in a universe. So if you just have 1 or 2 active players, it's very boring for them. And so we believe that it's a very big advantage to be on multiple platforms to reach the critical mass, as every platform would add some new gamers. And this gives us the opportunity to have an incremental growth platform by platform. So whenever you have your critical mass and you need this critical mass for the gameplay, and you add another platform, you don't care if there's just coming drop by drop a user, but if it's still coming drop by drop, it's okay, because these new users will find a vital community which is already set by the other platforms. And last but not least, it was in the online business the case, the acquisition of users always get more expensive. There was only one direction, it went up. And we believed if we have a combination of markets and platforms and varieties of possibilities to acquire users, that we could define in the future a better way to optimize the ratio between the lifetime value of a company and the acquisition costs. And yeah, so our strategy was there, challenges. Shall we launch all platforms simultaneously? Well, we decided no, we don't need that. We start with one to build up the critical mass, and we decided for iOS. At that time, it was clearly the dominant platform, with the most promising platform, and if we were fast enough, we still had let's say a competitive advantage, as we were in this genre one of the first games. So we released our iOS client first, and then we came 18 months later with an acceptable Android client. And there is another challenge. So if you go with the iOS development and you have a lot of success, we really needed to focus also on the iOS thing. It takes a bit longer to develop very good clients also for the other platforms. So we came out later with Android and with the browser version. And this was absolutely okay because of the tremendous success of iOS. Our flexibility. So we have decided for an architecture where our back end, there is happening the game logic, and the front end are more or less intelligent presenters. So what does it mean is that whenever we want to add a new platform, whenever there's a new player, we can do that. So it was clear that iOS is a success. We did know that Android is very important in the future at these times. And now the questions for us as a company is, will Facebook is a must-be, so we know that we have to go there. Is Windows Mobile or Windows 8, is that a thing where we should go? We do have the option from this architecture to go for all these platforms. And even if we do not believe that these are the biggest platform, it's still good because the critical mass is coming out of the other platforms. So that was our everything theory when we were founding the company. Now the question is, did we realize it and did it pay out? So the first question is, do people have different devices and do they use it? Well, this is a clear yes, because I think everybody knows it from especially here on this convention, from his own experience, that suddenly you have more than one device. You have a tablet, you have a smartphone, you have a PC, you have a handheld, perhaps a console. So people are using different devices. And the next question is, do our customers really play on different devices the same account? So, and we could say yes, they do, and it increases the number. And all these numbers are not a representative research numbers. These are real numbers from our experience, and we came from iOS mainly. So whatever figures there are, you have to think about that we are just 7 months now actively on Android. And for that, numbers might change in the next couple of months. So the first thing is we were looking how many users are really using different platforms, like the combinations of Android and iOS. And it just 5% of our multi-screen users are using an iOS and an Android device. But the number is increasing. And especially in our case, we have a very long-term play. So a lot of customers play our game 1 to 2 years. So it happens that you change your device because you have perhaps you have an iPhone 3 and suddenly you have birthday and you get an Android device. This is really something what's happening in our support a lot of times. So when we look about these cross-platform things, most of the times it's a change of the main device from iOS to Android. This is because most of our users are iOS users. I'm sure there are a lot of Android users changing to Apple. So 72% of our active browser user additionally play on a mobile device. That means whoever comes on a browser will sooner or later play on a mobile device. This is very important for our strategy because therefore we could afford even to pay a little bit more on the browser acquisition. And then, but the multi-screen users were the most typical combination, surprise, surprise, iPhone, iPad, iPod Touch. These are really, it's the most common combination in our user base. And most of the users who came with an iPad, so 50% of our active iPad users play on a second screen. And it's mostly an iPhone or iPod Touch. What was funnily when we were looking at it directly is the iPads. Sometimes we have iPads with a lot of connected accounts. So we have seen a lot of accounts on the iPad, and normally this is multi-accounting and a really bad thing. But in those cases, we have seen complete families playing on an iPad and combining these accounts with their individual devices. So the iPhone sticks to a private or one person, and the iPad is the family device lying around at home, and all of them are using it. And we definitely have cases where the whole family is playing Lords and Knights or one of the other games. Yeah, and from our active users, so how many of our active users are using multiple screens? 30%. But it's two ways to see it. 30% are playing on multiple screens, or 70% are still playing just on one device. So for each company, it's different what is important to them. But in our case, we believe it's very important to deliver this multi-screen opportunity. Organic growth. Social relations are not device related. I think this is clear. But this is, if we are now talking about harvesting our challenges, what we had in the beginning, and the invest to have a multiple platform approach, we are now in the time to harvest that. And when we see that we have earned or we are winning an audience in a certain market, then we see that when we came on Android, that we directly had organic growth and organic traffic through the community which was playing on iOS. And when we were running a push promotion on the US iOS market last month, we directly have seen a spillover effect to Android. Incremental growth, that means many little drips make an ocean. This gets now important to us and to our sustainable growth strategy. I mean, times getting more competitive, CPIs increase, more competitors are coming up, big budgets, and of course it's very visible that Lords and Knights was a successful game, so we have a lot of Lords and Knights competitors suddenly. And therefore it's very good for us to have the opportunity to, let's say, to opt also marketing-wise just for the cream in certain markets and go for the cheapest way of user acquisition. So what is our resume is, for us now, one of the most important points is the optimized user acquisition. So we definitely can decrease the cost through our multi-platform approach, because we always are capable to change budget from iOS to Android. And wherever the ratio currently is better between lifetime value and CPI, we change the budget. We are still we are bootstrapped with not big millions to share, so we need to optimize that. We are targeting niche markets. This means when we have the capability to target them on Android and on iOS, we are doing that. And this is part of our strategy to even go to the markets where not everybody is present, as we there have a smaller competitive advantage. That it's a good, it's a good contribution to our revenue stream. And we have an incremental expansion to additional platforms. This means wherever we are going there, we get additional traffic, and we get additional organic traffic, and let's say the organic traffic is direct profit versus mostly expensive acquired users are not directly profit. So this is very important for us. And social relations are not limited to devices. This is definitely a very important thing in all these games where you have a vital community and you cannot invite your friend to join the game where you are located. You will lose them, or they will not be able to play together if they don't have the same device. And this is one of the facts where we believe that that for Xyrality and for Lords and Knights, it was the right decision to opt for this multi-platform approach. Thank you.
Why did you not start with the browser first as your initial platform? And is your browser-based version as responsive and as capable as your native applications? And thirdly, if it is as responsive, it would seem that would be more natural one to start with, because everyone has access to a browser, whereas choosing only iOS is decreasing the size of your market.
Yeah, because we believe that we will not be competitive in the user acquisition. In the online market, the user acquisition got really expensive, and all our competitors have teams of a lot of people in the marketing space where they are really, and they have experience of years to design and optimize their campaigns. And we are a startup, and we believed if we go on the mobile space, and the first times it was so not only cheap, it was also easy. So if I tell, for example, for Italy, it took me half an hour to optimize a campaign, and that was the Italy campaign. And we just turned it on, and it was very easy. It was blind, but easy, and very profitable. And on the web, it wouldn't have been possible or capable to acquire any users there.
Have you been able to go into an international market and, like, through paid acquisition, build up? Oh, sorry. Have you been able to go into an international market and through paid acquisition build up organic to the point where you could actually pull out the paid?
Yeah, so our strategy was more marketing driven than organically. So we invested in a lot of markets, and we bought in. And at that time, so in 2010, when we started, it was the ranking algorithm of Apple was like you were going up within 3 days, and it took a week to go down. And that was, of course, a very profitable way. So we invested in getting up into the ranks, and then afterwards we were harvesting the organic traffic. And we were doing that every 2 weeks. So going down, going up, and that was it. Very easy, very straightforward. And it changed a lot. Whenever Apple changed something, it changes the whole economy there.
When you say the social interactions are not device limited, I'm really only familiar with Celtic tribes, but could you go into kind of how you do that and what systems you have that allow people to communicate across devices?
In the last part, I didn't get.
How you allow people to communicate across different device types?
Okay, so for example, if you play Celtic Tribes, it is a strong recommendation to join an alliance. Otherwise, you're just a victim. And then you have the forum, and you have an in-game, well, not chat, an in-game news system. And it's totally independent. If you're on Android or on iOS, you can communicate with each other.
Anybody else? We could probably do one more question if there is one. Well then, oh, there you go, sir.
Have you found that the players who use multiple devices are more loyal, they play longer, or anything about them that you could tell us?
Yes. So, of course, our whales, I mean, the people who are spending a lot of money into games tend to have more devices, and because they love games. And so iPad users for us using multiple screens, yeah, they're mostly, it's more probable that they are spending money.
Thank you. Please let's give a round of applause to Sven. Thank you, Sven.
Thank you.